Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Fergie Way. We are now in Season 3, so it's Season 3, Episode 1. Off the back end of a successful second season, we are heading in now with one sole goal. We want to win the Champions League, and that is that. So to do that, we have to strengthen in the transfer market where we can. However, it has gone a little bit silly, it has to be said. I mean, it's gone ridiculous. But in today's episode, we will have the curtain raiser to the Premier League. We are, of course, talking about the Community Shield, where we will play Spurs. So I suppose we should start with the transfers. Now, there is a bit of news. I've got them saved as notes because it probably happened so long ago we're not going to see them. I'll also bring a little World Cup update, of course, because World Cup was in the off-season. But we will just take a look at our transfers. Now, if you did watch the Season 2 review, we obviously spoke about players that have performed well and maybe players who hadn't. Players who were definitely safe and players who maybe wasn't. If you've not seen it, the link will be in the description. The link will also be in the description for the Season 1 review. So if you are new around here, do hit the sub button, by the way. But if you are new around here, you can go and check out what happened in Season 1, what happened in Season 2, and then you'll be on the level without having to go and watch through 40 videos. So we'll look at the transfers out first, and I did highlight a couple of players who I thought had underperformed, and both those players have gone. Daley Blin's gone out to Napoli for 35 million. He did kick up a bit of a stink. I had two players come to me saying why we selling him. From memory, it was Twinzabe and it was Fosu Mensah. But I basically said he's not good enough. They were happy enough with that. So off Daley Blin went. And Morgan Schneiderlin have got no resistance whatsoever. £25 million off to Atletico Madrid. So basically brought in 60 million quid. And if we look at who we brought in, of course, we've got Romagnoli. We'll ignore the top guy. He's just a little youngster who I need to send out on loan and maybe see him back at the club in about 3 years. But if we look at Romagnoli, 34 million quid for a world-class centre-back. With stats like that, is a ball-playing defender, which is what my formation's currently using. It was a no-brainer, and I say no-brainer because £34 million in this transfer market is a steal, because it has gone absolutely crackers. It really, really has. So 34 million quid, ball-playing defender. Did I need a defender? Probably not, but I think with him being available at the money he was, at the age that he is, he was probably a sensible buy. On to the next signing, £52 million, Ruben Neves. Now, it has to be said, having sold Blind and Schneiderlin, I had a clear mind who I wanted to buy, I'll be honest. Marco Verratti, world class, played for PSG last year, who of course went on to win the Champions League, and I was dead set. But I'm not paying £200 million for him. I tried, and I tried, and I tried, and they just wouldn't sell him. So I had to start looking at other options. And Ruben Neves, being 21 years old, sort of fitted a brief. Now, as we can see, we've only really got the high stats in a few areas, but those yellows, the vast majority of those yellow stats right now are running at 14 and 15. He is going to be absolute quality. So 2 signings, not a lot. I'm sure you probably expected more. I'll be honest with you, I still have around about 160 million, I think it is, in the transfer kitty, so I'm not done. This is the stage we're at right now. But I'll be honest, guys, I've been looking at the likes of Paulo Dybala. I even had a look at Neymar. And we're talking for Neymar, of course, he has a release clause, about 170 million quid. But that's what they want. And Dybala, they just won't sell him. I've even gone up to 170 million. Not that I probably would. In fact, no, categorically, I wouldn't have paid it. But I've gone up to that figure. And they still wouldn't accept that. So we're having to look around at different options. One thing I want to be acutely aware of is the fact that I want to win the Champions League this year. So I want to be adding players who can make that difference. So that's exactly what I'll be looking for when trying to buy. So I just wanted to go into my notes. These news stories are no longer there because, of course, it happened quite a while ago. Herrera picked up his first cap for Spain, which is pretty good going, of course. Then, as we can see here, Messi won Best Player in Europe. But what was fantastic was Pogba second, Juan Mata third. Now, we did say Pogba and Mata have been playing really, really well. And, yeah, that's how it ended, second and third. And another one was that Tottenham have come in for Twinzabe. They offered, well, it's saying £24 million there, but the total sort of bill was 35 million quid. Told him to get lost. He's one of the youngsters who I've brought in. He's one of the guys who I want to have in this career going forward. So, not a chance, Spurs. A couple of other transfer stories that I've not saved notes on. PSG have been hounding me. Juan Mata, Darmian. And I mean hounding. There's another team been hounding, but PSG we'll start with. PSG have offered up to 40 million quid for Darmian, but I've told them no. Darmian is not my understudies to Sidibe, but they're both on an even level, and I know that if one's not performing, the other one's going to, so he's not going nowhere. The 40 million quid, when you've got 200 million in your transfer kit and you've got no one to spend it on, the money's no interest. Juan Mata, on the other hand, obviously he's 30 years old. They may be hoping that they can buy him when he's at his prime. Not happening. Once again, they'd bid up to 50 million quid for Juan Mata. He's not going anywhere either. And the other one, Real Madrid, Martial, and they just carried going up and up and up. 90 million quid was the final offer that they made. I've still turned them down. They have gone chasing Gabbiadini over in Italy there. Still don't think they've bought him. They've been struggling. But there's no way I was letting Martial go for 90 million quid when to replace him I'm looking at spending maybe 200 million. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So another thing I said that we'd have a brief look at, World Cup. Brazil won it 1-0 in the final against Belgium. Gabbiadini had a really good World Cup, hence why Real Madrid have been chasing him relentlessly throughout this transfer period. But other than that, none of our players really excelled anywhere, I don't think. But as it had been a World Cup year, I thought I definitely had to show it you before we get kicking off into our season. And in the transfers around the world, guys, as we can see, Champions League winners PSG did go on by De Bruyne off City. I can see here that Real Madrid actually did get their man, Gabbiadini, at 48 million, and City added both Koke and Alvaro Morata to their ranks. So we'll just take a look at the schedule before we get into today's live comment. As you can see, we have had some friendlies, very easy ones. I always go for some easy friendlies. Morale boosters, you know how I feel about morale. It's important, right? Maybe the most notable of all these friendlies is we did go away to Bayern Munich. We won 5-0. They did play a strong team. Rashford got a hat-trick in that game. But other than that, let's kick this season off and get to Wembley to play Spurs. So here we are on match day, and the press and the bookies are completely backing us. No bloody wonder we've been doing so well in the last couple of seasons. Paul Pogba's our key man. Hugo Lloris is theirs. Should be a good game, this one, because Tottenham were the ones who came second. They well, I wouldn't say chased us all the way, because let's be honest, we absolutely monted the Premier League last year. But Tottenham were a pretty decent team, although they've never really got a good result against us. They've obviously done very well in the Premier League in most of their other appearances. So this could be a good game. It really could. But selection-wise, let's see how that went. So we'll start with the home dugout, which is, of course, the mighty Man United. Now, selections are still a little bit up in the air, work out what's going to happen. But just so you know, of course, Zlatan Ibrahimovic has got a massive injury at the moment. Still out, will be out for quite a while yet, so we are going to be without him. Hence why I was looking at the likes of Dybala, etc., to try and bring in another striker, because of course there is that risk that Zlatan's going to come back and basically hang up the boots. So in a little different fashion than usual, I'll start at the top. We've got Martial and Rashford. I have played Martial as the advanced forward this time round. Martial and Rashford are going to have to sort of mix it up and play around up there, but these are my two starting strikers going forward. These are the two guys who were, when it came to the club, quite young, and the more and more they've played, they've got better and better. But we also have Memphis Depay sat on the bench, which in its own right is a great thing, because as we know, Memphis, whenever he comes on, he always does what's asked of him. We have Juan Mata playing in the trequartista role, which is unsurprising considering how well he did last season. Pogba in the advanced playmaker role, and then this is where things start to change. So we do have Renato Sanchez back in the squad now. Of course, missing for the vast majority of last season after doing a cruciate ligament damage. And we also have Ruben Neves starting his first game for Manchester United in the defensive role. That's the only role that Neves is going to play. He's just going to play in that sitting in deep role. He's not going to be used anywhere else across that midfield line, because of course they still have the likes of Fosu Mensah, Ander Herrera, Callum Gribbin, who can all sort of mix in there. At the back, it is a very, very familiar sight. Alaba and Sidibe taking up left back and right back. And then, of course, we have the partnering of Bailly and Smalling in the middle. Now, why no Romagnoli, do you say? Now, as I say, I didn't really need to buy him. Romagnoli was a bit of a luxury purchase. We had the money there. But Bailly and Smalling have been solid. And until I see that starting to fracture somewhat, Romagnoli's going to have to make do with the bench and possibly a little lower games. So in the normal fashion, we'll take a look at the Spurs team, and as we can see, they've got Vorm in net with Walters, Wimmer, Mir and Alderweireld at the back. They then have Dele Alli and Eric Dier in the middle, with Min, Firmino, Lamella and then Harry Kane up top. We will now move on and see what nasty boy Roy has to say. How's it going, Roy? It's been a long off-season, hasn't it? Such a cheesy grin on that photo. So yeah, not much in the way of hard tackling. He has gone for Dele Alli, which is something I would recommend. But I also think Lamella, and Min also. We, of course, will be watching out for yellow cards. We know that this isn't the greatest way to keep all your men on the pitch, but I always want to try and boss the pitch and let the opposition team know that we're here. We'll leave Harry Kane. Now, Harry Kane's a big lad. He can take a couple of hard tackles, especially being a striker in the Premier League, but we will move on to the team talk. We are down at Wembley, and this one has got to be for the fans. Not much greens going on, which is slightly annoying, but we will just add a little bit more greens by telling them that we have faith, you can make the difference, and with a little bit of luck, well, not too bad going. So we move into the game here, so I'll fill the first highlight with a little bit of gibberish. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, you know, the problem being with the transfer market is I want to try and add world class where possible, and I mean proper world class, as Pogba forces a save from Vorm there. I mean proper world class, someone who's going to make a difference if they come into the team. But as much as I've got the money, and maybe some people in the comments section will say, oh, if you've got 200 million, just spend it, it doesn't matter. There's something that is deeply unsettling with me about having to spend £200 million on a player. It really, really is. And I know that if I bought a player for 30 million, oh God, 1-0 down for Firmino, guys. It's all right, it's only 10 minutes in. We can turn this round, I'm confident. I really, really am. Walters with a free kick, he whips it in. Kane gets somewhat of a touch. Firmino manages to just left foot volley it into the back of the net. 1-0 Spurs, but we're early on and we can repair this. But yeah, what I was saying a minute ago, if I bought a striker for 30 million quid and then I bought Dybala, as Neves puts one in the net from the free kick, 1-1, it's took all of 5 minutes, and Ruben Neves getting himself a debut goal. Never expected it. I've not bought this lad to score goals, but check that free kick out. Okay, a little bit down the middle of the net, maybe Vorm should have got it, but at 1-1 we'll take it. I will finish this conversation, however, about strikers. 30 million quid for one player, gets 20 goals a season. 170 million pound more for, say, Dybala. It's dear now. Yeah, for, say, Dybala, 170 million pound more. But let's say he gets 35. Is the money really worth it? For me, it doesn't sit right. I don't mind spending maybe up to 100 million on a player. Did it with Sanchez because I thought he was that good. And I think Dybala's that good, but not 200 million good. It's Alaba now to Martial, and he's managed to put it wide. Unlucky Martial. We are on to the 30th minute, and it has to be said that we're playing quite well. As Mata hits a free kick, it does go over the bar. Should have given it to Neves, shouldn't you, son? Del Ali's picked it up. He's cleared it out. Wasteful clearance, to be honest. Harry Kane was up the pitch there. Could have played it out. Chose not to. Sidibe now to Sanchez. Sanchez, and he's played it, but Rashford didn't get to it. Small's hit it in. It's Martial, and it's 2-1. It looks like Martial will keep the goal. It's questionable whether he'll be offside there, but Smalling with a clearance. Route 1 football almost. I mean, look at this. Hoof. And Martial waiting on the back man. How Vorm didn't rush out and get that, I'd be absolutely livid if he was my keeper. But in this case, 2-1, heading into half-time, 5 minutes away. Puts us safe as Mata whips another one in. Pogba down to Bailly, 3-1. Not game over, but when you go down at the beginning of a game and you're going to go in at half-time 3-1, you've got to be pretty pleased. Starting the season pretty much as we ended the last one, the dominant force. As we see, Pogba nodded it down. Bailly managed to hit it. Vorm once again really should have collected that ball, but he didn't, and it's 3-1. So there we go. We head into half-time, and I'm not going to have to absolutely kick their asses in the team talk. They have, of course, managed to come from behind. So I'm going to tell them I'm very happy with the performance. Keep it up. One thing that was worth a note there was the fact that Rashford's not having a great game. He's playing a 6.6, so I do have Depay on the bench. He may find himself in that position of the complete forward as Firmino's offside. He will find himself in the position of complete forward. We mentioned this at the back end of last season, though. Memphis's assists, obviously being naturally a midfielder, I suppose, if you like, were really high. So I would like to try him in the complete forward role this year, see if he can assist a few more goals, and actually maybe even cement the place and maybe leave Rashford and Martial to fight out for the advanced forward position. We'll see, though. It's cleared out only as far as Pogba. It's Neves. Pogba has the ball took off him, but it goes only as far as Sidibe. Smalling now. End of the highlight. What a waste. Sidibe, Smalling. Ruben Neves, goal scorer from the free kick in the first half. Sidibe. Neves again. Getting involved in the ball quite a bit, which is good to see. Of course, now we have a little Portuguese contingent, as it were, with Sanchez, Neves, and of course, young Angel Gomez. So maybe it's starting something a bit fresh here at United. It's Martial manages to put one wide of the post. A couple of shots he's put wide. Now, of course, he scored a goal, but was put in a very good position as Mata puts one over the bar from the free kick. Yeah, he's put in a very good position there from that ball from Small, and I think it caught everybody out, including us. But other than that, he's not really done a right lot. It's Alaba now. Pogba, Mata to Martial, to Rashford, back to Martial. Scoops yet another one over the bar, and this is my concern. I'm not saying they're not world class, but I want someone who's guaranteed to finish when it gets put on a plate. It's Mata now. Martial kicks it at Vorm. So it's the 60th minute, and of course, this is pretty much a friendly. So we will be looking to play as many players as possible. So we will give Romagnoli a game. We'll put him on for Eric Bailly. Fosu-Mensah will be coming on for Sanchez. As we said, we'll bring on Memphis for Rashford, Darmian for Sidibe, and we'll maybe make another change in the not too distant future. But 60 minutes in, maybe some of these players can come in and maybe stake a little bit of a claim for the first team to be the starting 11, as it were. But I'm hoping Memphis does all right. I have a lot of faith in Memphis. You've seen it from the beginning of the whole series. I've tried to do what I can with him because I have belief in him as a player. Of course, now making a move to Lyon in France in real life. A little bit gutted about that. It's Pogba now to Mata. And Pogba and Mata linking up. Their link-up play has been tremendous as we got to sort of halfway through the second season. Pogba and Mata, well, Mata's game was always quite high. Pogba started low, but the way they've been playing together has been just magnificent. I mean, that was a majestic finish by Mata there. Left foot volley, over the top ball from Pogba. And it's put us 4-1, and it's made it look like Tottenham haven't even turned up. So I have just brought on young Gomez and Callum Gribbin for the aforementioned Pogba and Mata. Just to give them quarter of an hour, just in the back end of the game. Maybe see if they can pick something out of this game. But yeah, 10 minutes to go. A convincing win. I mean, we've absolutely destroyed them. Spurs only getting 3 shots, 2 on target. One of them, of course, finding its way to the back of the net. But a very, very positive start from the champions, from us. We're doing so well. Final highlight now, guys. It's Bentaleb to Mir. Ruben Neves strips the ball off him, plays it to David Alaba. It's Gribbin now. Gribbin tries going through 2, doesn't quite work. It's Trippier on the ball now to Sissoko. Sissoko's played it forward, but De Gea, easy enough ball for him to collect. Not conceding another one today, I don't think. It's Alaba now and Neves. Gribbin. Gomez. Memphis. Memphis tries driving into the box, but it doesn't work too well. It's Fosu-Mensah to Darmian. Darmian not able to get down the wing. We are down to the last 20 seconds now. Ruben Neves, Fosu-Mensah. Looks like they're just going to play it around. That should be the whistle when this gets cleared. There we go, full time. Another little bit of silverware. Great to see. Not the most important trophy we're going to win all season, but nonetheless, it is great to get something out of the very first game of the year. Will help us kick on. And yeah, so we will just tell the guys that we were pretty happy with them today. They did, of course, play okay. They did concede the early goal, but we did get there in the end. We are going to tell Pogba, because he played a 9, that his dominating performance today was spectacular. And we are also going to tell Marcus Rashford that we're not happy with him today because he only played a 6.5. Now that we are missing Zlatan and will be doing for quite a while, we want to make sure that these players understand that if they're in the team, they're not staying there just because of the name alone. So there we have it. That was episode 1 of season 3. And I think it went very well. You know, we're not done yet. The transfer window is still open. If you've got any ideas, bang them in the comments, because I'll be brutally honest. I just don't really want to go out and spend hundreds upon hundreds of £1 million on players just because they're world class. I want world class players. I want players this year who can help me win the Champions League. The way we'll see the game unfold this year is if I've got Champions League games coming up, the youngsters who we normally play in the weaker Champions League games and in the Cup games, they're going to feature in the Premier League. I'm going for the Champions League this year. That is the out and out goal. So we will look at the schedule here, and as we look down, we've got Wolves in the next game, which is not a live-com game, I'm sure you'll agree. But we do have City, Chelsea, then Arsenal. Now, I did ask a few videos ago which way we're going to do this, and I'm going to say I'm carrying on doing 1 game extended. So I'm going to miss Wolves, and we'll be back for the City game. Can't miss a City game for a live com. So episode 2, live com at City. Maybe we'll have made a couple more transfers. Maybe not. We'll just see how it goes. But on that note, guys, I hope you've liked the episode. If you have, click the button. Takes just a second. If you're new around here, hit subscribe. And other than that, I've been Teach FM, and I'll catch you later. See you in a bit.